Well, good morning. This is Pastor Keith Hodges, and I want to welcome you today to Everyday Sunday. And this morning, I want to talk to you about God's reward system. God's reward system. I don't know if you've ever heard the little phrase that you reward what you want to repeat. Well, let me just say something to you today. God was the originator of that thought. God has created a reward system that is intended to repeat the actions and the values that he desires to see in the hearts and lives of his people. So I want you to look with me in Luke chapter 14. The Bible says this, then he, speaking of Jesus, turned to his host. And he says, and when you put on a luncheon or a banquet, he said, don't invite your friends, your brothers, your relatives, and the rich neighbors, for they will invite you back, and that will be your only reward. Instead, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind, and then at the resurrection of the righteous, God will reward you for inviting those who could not repay you. So I want you to think about God's reward system for a second. First of all, I want you to understand what Jesus wasn't saying. Jesus was not saying that we can't have lunch and have banquets with our friends, our relatives, and our neighbors. He wasn't saying that we can't do that. Because if you look at the life of Jesus, Jesus had specific time where he pulled apart with his disciples, with his friends, with those closest and nearest to him. So he wasn't saying we can't have lunches and dinners and banquets with those that we are near and dear with. What he was saying is that when we have those luncheons together or those meals together, that there's not an eternal reward connected to it. Because if you think about it, if I invite you over to my house and we're buddies, you're going to probably invite me back over to your house. And if we go out to eat and I buy your meal, next time we go out to eat, you're going to probably try to buy my meal. And that's just what happens among friends and family and relatives. We just care for one another. And you bless me and I bless you, and you take care of me and I take care of you. You help me and I come help you. And that's just what we do because we're family and we're friends. But what Jesus was doing is he was implementing a reward system. He was trying to teach a truth that kind of gets us outside of that box. It gets us looking beyond just our family and our friends, because it's really easy to get sucked into the circle of our family and friends. And we ultimately, if we're not careful, we'll never look beyond that. And all of a sudden, God creates a reward system that requires us to look beyond our family and friends, to look beyond the people that are just near and dear to us, and to recognize that there is a world of people that are broken and hurting. There's a world of people out there that are desperate for the hope of God, that need a helping hand, that need a friend, and that need compassion and care. And all of a sudden, God is creating a reward system that honors his value and that creates a culture of compassion and generosity. So think about what Jesus says. He says, when you have a luncheon, when you have a dinner, when you have a banquet, invite the poor, invite the crippled, invite the lame, invite the blind. He says, and then at the resurrection of the righteous, God will reward you. Listen to this. Here's the key: for inviting those who could not repay you. God will reward you for inviting those who could not repay you. So God's reward system is really simple. Here's the idea behind it. Help those who can't help you. Bless those who can't bless you, and you will be rewarded. Think about what Jesus said about God. He said he sends his rain on the just and the unjust. He sends the sun on the just and the unjust. God blesses those that are his, and God blesses those that aren't his. God blesses those that love him, and God even blesses those who curse him. And so all of a sudden, God is creating a reward system of compassion and generosity that causes us to look outside of our inner circle and see a world that's hurting and broken. And then he says this. He says, if you'll help those who can't help you, if you'll bless those who can't bless you, if you'll intervene on the behalf of those who can never intervene on your behalf, I will reward you. I will bless you. And I will give you an eternal reward that will last forever because you were willing to help the people that could never help you. So I want to encourage you today. Let's embrace God's value system. Let's begin to look outside our inner circle of family and friends, and let's see the people around us. And my prayer was, God, today help me to see the needs around me and help me to do something. Help me to look for those that could never pay me back and help me to bless them. Help me to live in the value system of God that values every person because they were created in the image of God, and that shows compassion and generosity, not to get an earthly reward, but to know that the only way to get an eternal reward is to help those that can't help me. So may we be those people, right? May we be the kind of people that help people that could never help us, because we love God and we love people and we see the value of every single soul. God bless you today as you value people and as you operate in God's reward system.